We are people with disabilities across all sectors and all intersectionalities. Why are we left behind? And it goes back to this point of we are still seen as a community from a point of you're less than, you're incapable, you're vulnerable, you're pitiable, you're different, and until we change that narrative, we're not going to be able to fully achieve and tap into the potential of the disability community into the economies. Disability needs to be at the table into every single conversation and dialogue, not just on disability-related issue, but on every single theme. When we're talking about climate action, when we're talking about transportation, when we're talking about e-commerce. But why are we not bringing disability forward? Let's have the difficult conversation. We need to create spaces where we have the difficult conversation. We bring forward what are people really thinking about when it comes to disability? Why are we left behind? That's number one. And number two is then how do we create the real narrative of value? How do we create shared responsibility? How do we create a system where the system says we are losing out when we don't include the disability community? We need to get to a point where every single sector says, hey, we're creating trade agreements, are we bringing forward the disability community? We're talking about climate action, are we actually putting people with disabilities at the table? To get to that point, we really need to first start having difficult conversations. Disability is being brought forward in certain specific spaces or topic, but we still have a lot of work to be done. I'll give you an example. We had conversations around the care agenda, right? The care reform. And when disability was brought forward to the conversation, it was only brought from a point of, people with disabilities are only receive care. No, we also give care. We're caregivers. Why do we see disability just from one lens? We look at climate action and disability, we see it from a resiliency perspective. Actually, we can be innovators. We can actually be part of creating sustainable solutions. With this year, with hosting APEC, into next year Peru hosting APEC, I think there's that momentum that we want to keep building on and making sure that disability is mainstreamed across all of our working groups, all of the ministerials, every single topic and theme. And then how do we connect the dots across the different multilateral spaces? How do we connect the dots, but how do we actually take a step forward and not just talk about disability with people that have disability as part of their portfolio, but how do we actually get, for instance, ministries of trade, ministry of transportation, ministries of health and human services to be talking about disability?